Okay, so we have another one. We don't really have to go far. We have a live oak here. Look at that thin canopy. This is in decline. That canopy should be thick. We should not be able to see through it. We've got shoot death, dieback. All of those limbs up there dying off. We should not be seeing that at all. And it's apparent why. This one's extremely clear. This isn't a disease. This is abiotic. This is an abiotic issue. And it has to do with something similar to the other one. It's got a limited rooting area. Look at this. This is all it's got. Now the roots have made it underneath the street, some of it, but it's just so tight. In addition to that, we have in a severe case of girdling and circling roots. All of this right here. All of that with the tree that's grown up against it here. It just can't grow past it. You can't fix that. And we have this bark here. Ah, yeah, see? It's dying off. It's restricting the nutrient, the carbohydrates, and water, all of that up to through the canopy, and it's not bringing the starches that it needs to store down into the roots either. It's affecting its entire vascular system. That is why we are seeing complete dieback throughout the entire canopy. This is affecting every part of the tree. It's doing the best it can. Live oaks are some of the toughest trees that I've ever seen, and they are one of my favorites out of pure respect. But even with this limited rooting area, it's been lifting up the sidewalk over the years, trying to make room, and it's great at that. These roots are amazing. They're kind of like a little jackhammer, but there's only so much it can do. It's lifted the sidewalk up. It's really nice that the city and property owners here have not just cut this to pieces, which would have, of course, killed the tree and made it structurally unsound, but they have tried to make this walkable and accessible for those with either wheelchairs or bikes and things. But it's just pushing all of those limits. Look at that. It's actually a bit of a hazard, but that's one of the things I love about Austin is that we love our trees. And so people just have to be careful. And we are not taking a tree like this down until we have to. And that day will come. Okay, the days are going to come. It's just, this is chronic. It isn't coming back from this. It can't be brought back. It's just going to be a slow decline. Sad to watch. These roots just can't be taken care of. Yeah, here's a good visual of the girdling roots. We've got one right here. It's the whole mass. It's one gigantic mass. It's like putting concrete all up against the tree. And in some case, I mean, this is even stronger than concrete. So it just can't grow. And a tree, by the way, needs to be growing constantly. If the tree roots are not expanding and the tree is not growing, then it can't sustain itself, and then it just starts to decline. And that's what we got going on here. They have an irrigation system. Looks like it's getting irrigated kind of regularly, but it just doesn't have enough of a rooting area. Compaction and rooting area, that's some of the biggest problems for urban trees. But this is a great example. Can't help them all. Now this one could be, this is another pecan. We've got this ivy growing against it. These root flares need to be exposed, or we're going to be dealing with the same stuff we saw on that live oak earlier. All this needs to be pulled back. Pecans are notorious for that Ganoderma disease. We got some flagging. We got some dead limbs up there. I think we really had some high winds at some point that I just wasn't maybe around for. See that? That's a hanger. That branch is broken right there, so it's hanging over the street where it could fall on a car, probably not do much damage. And we've got more up here. Yeah, oh, we got squirrel damage. Squirrels are chewing on those. Right up in there. Yep, right towards the main trunk, the main stem. You can see where the squirrels have been chewing on it. Yeah, more of it there. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Follow the branch all the way back, and you'll see where the squirrels have been chewing on it. They've girdled it. Oh, we've got a hanger right there that looks like 1.5 inches. So this is another good reason why it's good to have the trees looked at regularly and pruned regularly. Not necessarily the green tissue. We want to minimize that actually. But they do need to have the deadwood pruned out because we're over a street right now. And it could fall on someone walking, could fall on a guy making a video about trees. You could have an arborist popped in the head. So in a case like that, or in a case like this one, it's really going to be about just continuing to prune the deadwood out as it happens and keep it here for as long as possible, observing it to make sure that it's not dangerous and that nothing is failing for as long as possible. As long as possible. That's what we got on this one. Okay, real quick on this note. Notice this pruning. This is utility pruning for high voltage lines. And yes, it looks hacked and it's very unfortunate. But I'll tell you what, I'm afraid it has to be done. It just has to be done or we wouldn't have utilities and electricity and things like that. So luckily, cities have gotten a lot more aware of public concern and they do care about their trees. So even though this looks really sad and awful, it's really the best they can do. They have to do it. It's a necessary evil. So there is a proper way, believe it or not, there is a proper way to hack a tree. And there are ways to do this so it's properly done and so that it minimizes the stress on the tree and that it minimizes the amount of visits that they have to make. So just when you see this, usually, not always, but most of the time, the city have arborists now that are well educated on this, and they're doing the best they can. If you have any concerns, contact the city, of course, just to make sure. But they should be making proper cuts. And but yeah, I don't like to see it, but it's got to get done. As long as we're around and we need electricity to our buildings, we kind of have to have this kind of stuff done. Okay, just thought I'd make a little note on that.
Okay, I wanted to wrap up with this. I came across this photo, and I think it's relevant to when there's parts of the videos you've seen recently that we can't see below the surface. And this is what happens, or what happened in this particular case, when the root flares were covered by soil. It was rotting, and you wouldn't know from above the surface, except there were symptoms, or there were signs. You can see that right there. So you've got to be very careful when we're assessing or diagnosing a tree. Make sure you're aware of the things you can't see, like below the surface. All right, I'm going to head on out of here. I thought it would be kind of nice to show a few photos of Austin. There are so many beautiful trees around the city. I do not have a shortage of topics that we can go over. So if you have any questions or anything you want to see, please let me know. I look forward to hearing from you and making the next video. I hope you all have a great week. All right, bye.